What's going on, everyone? You're listening to the Asian MMA podcast, where we talk about anything and everything going on in the world of Asian MMA. I'm your host, Dana Bluen, and this episode is brought to you by John Nutt's Imagination, because that motherfucker is crazy. Leading up to Full Metal Dojo this weekend, I've got headliner Javier Trujillo, friend of the show, and with me, my boy John. John, what's your last name, man? I don't even know how to say it. Like Hucho Godon. Yeah, that's it. I got it right first time.
Yeah, man. You're like fully Asian now. You know, you've been out here for a while. You know what's up.
I know. So John's got another great show on YouTube. He interviews a lot of top fighters. So links to that will be in the show notes. Guys, thanks for taking the time to come by the studio and talk.
Yeah, man. Thanks for good. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, back in Bangkok. You're out of Asia for a minute, Javi.
Yeah. Just spending some time in the UK, man. Just traveling around, training with other people, man.
Doing some catch wrestling.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
I freaking loved it, man.
How was that?
Dude, it was an awesome experience. I mean, you know, to finally kind of learn it, especially under like the lineage of it, when you're talking back about it, it's just it was a huge honor to kind of be a part of it and kind of be part of the revival of it.
Yeah.
You know?
See where that's coming from, what's going on.
Yeah, man. You know, it's the violent art, and hopefully in this fight, man, I get to show a few little tricks that I've learned.
Show a few things.
Yeah. Show how English gentlemen wrestle, you know?
Now, your progression has been kind of steady, you know, coming all the way through. You've been FMD your entire professional career.
Yeah.
Right? I've seen you get better and better. I mean, it's tough to top a 5-second knockout, but we've got to see more of you since then, right? And
yeah.
You showcase your skill set. Now, you think the catch wrestling, that's something new you're going to be bringing this time?
Yeah, I mean, just between that and training at Team Quest, where they have like a very good wrestling program, I've kind of really embraced my wrestling. That was my roots, you know? That was like, I guess, my real like combative art when it came to studying mixed martial arts, you know? So between the combination of that and then with this new style of catch, you know, that's kind of almost, you know, lost on a lot of people, to kind of try and bring that back into MMA, man. It was going to be a nice thing, dude. So I'm excited.
Real quick, shout out to Javier's dad, Javier Trujillo, out in Cali.
Yo, what up, Pops?
Hey, what's up, man? Number one fan of the show.
Dude, yeah, man. He tells me all the time. They all do construction and stuff. They'll put on their podcast, bro, and just listen in on what's going on.
So
around
shout
Asia.
out to him.
Yeah.
So, John, man, you talk to a lot of fighters all over Asia.
Yeah.
Now, catch wrestling, how many, especially in East Asia, like Korea, Japan, you talk to a lot of guys from there. Do you see many guys doing catch?
Nah, man. Like, I don't think it even exists, really.
Yeah.
Maybe with the Japanese guys, but I don't really interview many of the Japanese fighters.
Because they don't speak English.
Yeah, you know, so it's kind of tough. But I'm starting to get more non-English speaking fighters on the show now, you know, because they have like managers or somebody that takes care of them. So they'll come on with them and, you know, translate. Recently I had Patricky Pitbull.
Yeah.
You know, he had his manager come on with him and, you know, translate some of the stuff during the interview, which was cool. You know, I had some Korean fighters come on.
But you speak Korean though, right? So
yeah, I do speak Korean, but like I have to put in subtitles, and usually it's better to have someone else, a third party, come in and kind of translate everything for them.
Takes time.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I don't know. Do you see the interview Helen Yi did with the UFC champ now? What's her name?
Wiley.
Oh, yeah. And is the first time I ever saw Wiley's personality come through talking to a Western media, because she did the interview in Mandarin.
Mm-hmm.
And like Wiley was all like smiles and bubbly, whereas usually she's trying to like listen to the translator and talk slow enough. So it's kind of like, it creates an interesting perspective when you can pull someone out of their out of that sort of media mode by putting in their native tongue.
Yeah, definitely, man. I've been trying to work on that, and I'm gonna start doing more of the Korean fighters, because they don't really get exposure, you know, outside of Korea at all. You know what I mean? Like most people don't know who the hell the Korean fighters are. You know, outside of let's say the Korean Zombie and the Korean Superboy, and most of the people don't even know their real names.
The Sexy Yama.
Yeah, and Sexy Yama. You know, like, do you know their real names? Most people don't.
Yeah.
They just know their like nicknames and stuff. And yeah, I want to just kind of like, since I've established myself somewhat, you know, throughout the years, I've been doing this for maybe, I don't know, man, like 2.5 years or something.
They've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah, and I kind of have built somewhat of a foundation, I guess.
Yeah.
And now that there are people watching from all over the world, I could kind of bring in more of the Asian fighters and give them a little bit more exposure that they didn't have outside of Asia.
That's the whole reason I do this show too, is to talk about guys like Javier, who, if you're fighting here in Bangkok, very little chance that someone in the U.S. or even Korea is going to hear about you guys, right? So, you know, that's really the whole point is you guys deserve that kind of that attention that there's not a ton of media out here that covers the smaller shows or like the fighters no one hears about.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and then what that's what's exciting about, like, especially yours too, you know, it gives us a platform, you know, to kind of express who we are and what we're trying to do out here in Asia and, you know, grow the scene here as well.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that it's not like people are just fighting every night of the week out here. If you're not fighting Muay Thai, it's hard to get a fight.
Yeah.
Other than the last Full Metal Dojo, I can't even think of when the last MMA show in Thailand was. Probably the last Full Metal Dojo.
Yeah,
exactly.
which was last November.
Yeah. What's it like in Korea? Like where you guys are, where you're at, John? And are there like small shows that do frequent kind of events or what?
Well, it's all scattered. You know, there's I guess there's tiers. There's like, you know, low level promotions that do shows maybe 3 times a year.
You guys got Road.
Yeah, you got Road, but Road kind of has shrank, I guess.
Yeah, they have kind of contracted.
Yeah, and they don't put on the shows that they used to, and most likely it's all financial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you don't have the money, you can't put on the show.
Yeah,
so.
I kind of figured when I saw that they weren't bringing in as many non-Korean fighters anymore, which, I mean, is good and bad. You get to showcase a lot more Korean fighters, but it really dwindles the pool.
Yeah, definitely. But I like that they are kind of like pulling back and just focusing on the Korean MMA scene.
Yeah.
And it's gonna allow it to grow. And you got like AFC, and then you got Double G, TFC supposedly still alive, but they haven't done a show in like over a year. So there's a lot of talk about that. Like, you know, what are they doing? There's a couple other little shows scattered. So there's always opportunity for the fighters to fight.
Yeah.
There's, you know, it's not like there's no shows. So it's better than Thailand, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, outside in Vietnam, it's illegal, right? Javier, you were just telling me they're going to do their first show out there?
Yeah, very first show. I think it's mostly amateur, and I think maybe 2 pro headliners, if I remember right. Yeah, and I think that's supposed to be in Ho Chi Minh.
Philippines has some pretty good action going on. They got that
UGB league.
Yeah, UGB, and they fight with sticks.
Yeah, man.
Dude, I forget what they call it. It's got this...
Kali?
No, it's got another Tagala name. But they do MMA with sticks, and it's insane. I love watching it. I feel like such a horrible... It's like when you watch those 6-on-6 MMA fights in Russia. Of course I'm going to watch it, but do I feel like a bad human being? Yeah, sort of. But then I watch stuff like that. I'm like, I know guys who would do this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I've saw someone ask Harvey, he'd be like, fight with a stick? Yeah, okay, no problem. I can do takedowns? Sure.
Yeah, that's easy enough.
Yeah, have you guys watched that? Have you watched the UGB with the sticks?
No, I didn't even know that even existed.
Yeah,
dude,
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, no, they have like promos for it on their Facebook page. Insane.
Huh.
And like they're not like tapping. They wear like a mask, like
like the kendo mask or whatever. Yeah.
And then fight shorts in MMA gloves.
Oh, dude.
And they're just whooping each other.
Just marks all over your body.
Can you imagine what you look like the next day?
Dude, yeah.
I saw one. They have a promo on their website where he's hitting the guy and the stick breaks.
Oh.
And they still hitting him with like this half-broken rattan stick. Like, that's just got to be horrible.
Oh, man. I mean, it's getting crazy with like that, and everybody's getting more popular in the like Lethway and the bare knuckle boxing.
Yeah,
and all
bare
this
knuckle's
stuff.
huge. Last time you were on, you said you wanted to do some bare knuckle.
Yeah, I still want to do it.
Yeah?
And I'm going to campaign anybody out there who wants to sign me. Please, I want to do it.
Call Javier. If you want someone to fight bare knuckle.
Yeah.
I think Johnny Hendricks looking to get knocked out again.
Shoot, hi, Johnny. You saw them involved?
Well, I mean, so we were talking before. You're talking about maybe going back to some training in England.
Yeah.
And, you know, bare knuckle fighting's big out there. They do that whole...
Yeah, they have, I believe, the only organization that's actually sanctioned in England. I think it's called BKB.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to their show. I think it was like BKB 18, man, and watched some of the fights and some of the people. And, man, it's a crazy, like, just like an FMD show, it's always better live.
Yeah.
You know, and it was a wild time, man, and just seeing all these different guys. But, dude, some guys were messed up, though.
Yeah.
They were cut up.
Well, who was it? Artem and Hootie fight there that they posted their photos afterwards, and it was like, God.
Jason Knight.
Yeah, Jason Knight.
They just recently fought, though, haven't they?
They just fought again.
Yeah, Jason Knight knocked him out cold the first round. Yeah.
That was a good fight.
That was a good fight.
Jason Knight looked legit in that bare knuckle.
But at the same time, I'm just like, I remember those photos, and I'm just thinking like, oh my god, those types of guys, they would do that no matter what, right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's like a lot of people were saying that it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of washed up like MMA fighters, and this gives them another avenue. It's like, man, I think it can be a legit thing, if people can practice for it, right? Especially MMA guys, because we are already used to boxing with small gloves on.
Yeah, well, I actually almost think that you probably have. Well, I was about to say this, but then you're right. Jason Knight knocked out Artem Lobov like cold, right? So he's clearly throwing with power. He doesn't care about breaking his hand. So I think there's guys who are just going to go out there and say, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, man.
Let me just throw these hands.
Well, you got Mark Godbeer doing his thing right now with Valor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Valor. I forgot what it's called, but it's called Valor something, right? Yeah, he's the champion. Did you see his the tournament that they had one night?
Yeah, I saw someone cut down a highlight reel.
Yeah.
That I watched. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yeah, he's resurrected himself with bare knuckle. I think he's a guy that shows you that, hey, MMA might not be your thing, man. Your thing might be bare knuckle. And he's out. I think he's out in Phuket right now training for his title defense. He's gonna guess who he's fighting.
Who?
LeVar Johnson.
No.
Really? No way.
In bare knuckle.
Yeah, in bare knuckle. That's his first title.
Oh
defense.
my god. Yeah. Oh my god. I don't even want to think about that.
Damn.
You know who would have been, like in his heyday, would have been like a beast in bare knuckle is Houston Alexander.
Oh yeah.
Right? How hard that guy hit.
Oh man. Who was it? Was it Keith Jardine? Man, he demolished that fight. I remember that one, man. Oof.
And then I always have to think about his fight with Kimbo, which was probably one of the worst fights ever. But when Houston was like fresh on the scene, man, he would just rip through guys. Imagine him bare knuckle.
What's he doing now?
I don't know. Probably not much.
Well,
Bouncing at a club.
Shoot.
But out in England,
send the contract,
right? But you think about out in England too, like they call the gypsies, whatever, the travelers, right? They have that whole bare knuckle boxing culture.
Yeah, well, that's why when I went out there, it was like, why do you want to fight this over? I'll take you to this place out here in the back, man. You can go fight some pikeys.
Yeah, right. Like right off the bat. Like, get off the plane. All right, you ready to fight, Harvey?
Yeah, I'm ready, man.
Holding it up like that.
Yeah, dude, feeling like a movie Snatch, dude.
Yeah. Remember for a while, I think you were still in Bangkok at the time, Javi. They were having bare knuckle fights like under bridges and shit.
The street fights.
Yeah,
the
Bangkok street fights.
Yeah.
Like Tommy was reffing fights. Former UFC fighter Tommy Hayden reffing bare knuckle street fights under a bridge in Bangkok.
With like mats they laid out, right?
No, like I think
they didn't have mats.
Like dudes are getting knocked out, slapping their head against the concrete.
Man.
Have you seen these videos?
No.
Oh my god.
They had a few guys come and fight on the FMDs too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I remember a few of them, like all the crazy ties with like all the tattoos and all that, man.
Yeah, like eyebrow tattoos.
Yeah.
That was one of the most wild things when that was big for like probably like 6 months. That was huge.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw Tommy in one of the videos rapping, I'm just like, man.
Yeah.
At least he had gloves, plastic gloves.
At least somebody did.
Yeah, someone did. Because they weren't doing blood tests.
No way, man.
And it was like they didn't have matchups, dude. It was just like dudes showed up, and they'd be like 100 people there watching, and they'd be like, yeah, who wants to fight? And someone raised their hand, and they'd be like, who wants to fight him?
So like some real legit Fight Club stuff.
Yeah. And like they had chicks coming and doing it.
Dang.
Yeah, I know at one point there was a news magazine here. They were following one of the girls. And she was a nurse, as her day job. And she was like, oh, I want to be like a bare knuckle fighter. And she was going to these Fight Club things trying to fight chicks.
Damn, man.
You got that in Seoul?
No, man. I don't think anybody's doing that. I tried to put something together in Korea in the club, kind of like what, John is doing with FMD.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to hop on board. Everybody wants to have it in like an arena or, you can't have every show in an arena.
Definitely not.
And MMA is not that popular.
That's how you end up with like 3 shows a year.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right. Especially, up in Chiang Mai, they used to do more shows, like local shows, right? They still
MMA
doing
shows?
that? Yeah.
I've never heard of an
I
MMA
think,
show. I know every once in a while, like in one of like the Taipei Gate, they'll do like an MMA fight every now and then. But that was all I've ever heard about MMA.
Because I remember, Tangmo, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows. You know Tangmo?
No.
Oh, he's like a Thai legend. So
dude, we gotta shoot that video of him knocking out that
the roided up cop dude.
Dude, it looks so hilarious. We gotta find this video, dude. It's so hilarious. It was like a cartoon. The guy is like spinning.
Yeah.
And he drops on the floor, man.
It's funny because Tangmo had never won a fight before that. He was like 0-16, and he fights this dude who's like clearly juiced to the gills. And everyone, like, if you follow this guy, he always makes like the most racist comments on social media. So to see Tangmo just murk this guy in like 5 seconds was amazing.
And then start dancing afterwards.
Yeah,
man. That was crazy.
But yeah, Tangmo fought Dylan up in Chiang Mai.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I think it was like BK.
Yeah.
I think if BK was putting the shows on.
Oh wow.
I think and like Tangmo, because I think Tangmo's fought BK and Dylan, and Dylan was like a lightweight at the time.
So he was even smaller then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he was fighting at lightweight. He was probably just cutting a shit ton of weight.
Yeah, because he's bigger than me, man.
Yeah, he is.
Dylan's
He's a
a scary
boy.
looking dude.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, and
Strong.
I'm pretty sure he fought because what did he fight Baz at? I think that was a lightweight fight.
Yeah.
At welter at the most.
Yeah,
but,
probably welterweight, but yeah, man, that dude's like solid like a rock,
yeah.
bro.
That was the him fighting Baz was the first FMD I ever went to.
That's the one with is he an Iranian cat or
Afghani?
Afghani, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dylan looked like chill as a cucumber in that fight, dude. He's just all leaning up against the cage, smiling and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, you know this fight, John?
No.
So it's and actually the weigh-ins, Baz like gutting his face, and Dylan was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Right? And so the next night, like the whole first round, Baz just keeps taking him down, and Dylan's like working his way up, not taking any damage. Second round, Dylan puts a beating on this dude, and we're in a 2-level club. It was Live House over in JJ Green. And the whole second floor is all Afghanis. All of a sudden, like, Afghani flags are flying. People are like, "No, no, 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 no," like screaming. And someone just starts chanting, USA, USA, during the second round, right? I look over, and of course, who's the one chanting? It's this dude, Matt Polino from Malaysia.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows Polino. So,
Yeah.
no one's surprised when they find out it's him doing it, right? Then all of a sudden, everyone's chanting USA. So I'm standing next to a drunk French guy and a drunk British guy on the other side of me, and they're both chanting USA, USA. Right? Everyone. Then upstairs, everyone's waving these Afghani flags and crazy. Dylan puts a beating on this dude for the whole second round. He can't get off the stool. He makes it to the end of the second, can't get off the stool for the third. All of a sudden, like 30 Afghans are in the cage, and they're like lifting the guy up and like carrying him out like he's gonna die or something. I thought people were gonna start getting murdered, like beheadings were gonna go on and shit. Like it was getting sketchy.
Super sketchy, dude. Yeah, man. I mean, and that's what's cool about up there, dude, because, like, Dylan came from, like, the old school days in Oregon, like, with Team Quest, man.
Yeah.
And it makes sense why he's so chill if, like, somebody leans him up against the cage like that.
Oh, he didn't even care.
No, because I understood. Because, like, oh, yeah, if you got like, guys like Matt Leland and Randy Couture and all these guys beating you up every day.
Yeah, so Baz hits a takedown, you're like, yeah, I'll get up.
Yeah.
And that was, like, literally, like, most guys you get taken down, you're going to be nervous, right? You try to work your way up. Dylan's just like, yeah, pushing, getting his way up. Land his shots when he can. He didn't really take damage.
Nah, man. He knows how to play it real safe, dude. Like, this last, like, 2 fight camps, he really showed me how to work the cage and work it well, you know?
I like watching Dylan fight. He's a very, very talented fighter.
Yeah, very technique-wise, man.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's like, oh, he's really strong. It's like, nah, bro, he doesn't rely on any of that, man.
No, he is really fucking strong.
He is super strong.
You tell by
Don't get me
looking
wrong.
at him.
But, yeah, like, he has beautiful technique, and, he tries to wear you out. You know, he's not always trying to go in for a kill. He's, like, slowly just
He's got a calmness about him the way he fights.
Yeah, it's nice, man.
I think you see that grind. Like, he's got this incredible grind when you see him fight. He puts guys in, like, just bad positions and pressure. And you see that come out of Team Quest.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys pick that up.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so, man, that's what I like about it, you know?
Yeah.
Especially for FMD rules, that really works well because that cage is small, man.
That's what I love about FMD, that small cage, right? There's no getting away. You know this better than anyone, right?
Yeah, man, this is my 7th time fighting for him, you know?
Some people come sprinting right across the cage, and I don't know why you would do that.
Dude. Oh, my God. Yeah, when I posted it the other day, man, I couldn't help but laughing about it, just thinking about the whole build-up to it, man.
Dude, I probably say every month or every other month, someone from the U.S. who I know will send me a message and be like, yo, is this you reffing this fight?
Are you serious?
Yeah, because that thing just gets circulated.
Yeah, it's funny, man. It'll like pop up every once in a while and go like on a little
its own
stream.
little tangent. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, man.
So I get like that. That's probably the one I get the most. The second one I get the most is what's the name? Kai Kara France. When he knocked out some Filipino guy on the cruise ship fights.
Oh yeah, is that
like
when
10
John
seconds.
was wearing like a pirate hat?
Yeah, we're all wearing. And I'm reffing a fight in a fluffy but nylon, not cotton, like pirate outfit, and I'm just sweating like crazy under this nylon top. So John was too. And then they made John wear like a velvet jacket over his nylon outfit.
Oh man.
We were all so uncomfortable.
Just in the tropics, dude. Just
yeah,
on a boat.
We're off the coast of Phuket on a cruise ship on the roof. Not a good look.
Dude, doing MMA, that's a crazy story, man. Only in Thailand.
Yeah, only in Thailand. That took like 4 days. That's the time Matt Polino missed weight by like 3 weight classes. He was supposed to fight at like welterweight. He was like 212 pounds or something. I saw him at like weigh-ins. He was eating like a bag of McDonald's outside the weigh-ins. I'm like, yo, you make weight? He's like, no, but they said it's okay.
Wow, man.
How much does he weigh now? He looks like he's big.
He's probably my weight, but he's like half my height.
Yeah, he's thick.
He's a big dude.
Boy. Yeah, he's doing this thing out in Singapore right now.
Yeah, I think he's in Singapore. Yeah,
a few fighters, so he's doing good for himself.
Yeah, he's a funny kid. But yeah, I just remember when he missed weight. He was like over 200 pounds, and the fight was at like 170. And dude, just like, yeah, they said it's okay. And he's mowing on a cheeseburger.
Oh man.
Yeah. So you fighting for a sword, Harvey? Huh? Championship at FMD.
Yeah, man. Finally,
Long road,
but I mean, tried and tested. I think that last fight kind of proved that I'm deserving of it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of fights proved you deserved it. I think that fight proved how much you wanted it.
Yeah.
Right.
To me, that showed I had a fighter's heart, at least to myself.
I think to anyone who watched.
Yeah.
So when you got up between rounds and you were a little wobbly.
Yeah.
With the second.
Oh, bro, he was close. It was close to going out, man. Like my tunnel vision got super small for a minute.
A few times I was watching, I was like, what's going on? That's not a great angle.
Nah, but I think it was because of all the shit talking online is what motivated me not to get I was just thinking in my head is like, bro, like I love Shamrock, shout out to Shamrock, but it was like he was talking a lot of shit for all the guys, dude. And I was like, yeah, man, you keep up the banter, it's fine, bro. I'm gonna show you guys what's up.
It's crazy. They bounced Shem out of the school
right after that. Yeah,
yeah.
Bull.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, he reached out to me afterwards and he told me that too, and I was like, "Oh man, that sucks, dude." Because I mean, you're doing all the promotion for all your guys, dude.
Yeah, I don't. And then they bounced someone else recently too out of Monarchy. Yeah. Like, I don't know what they're on, but like, Shem's probably one of the hottest prospects in Southeast Asia.
Yeah,
for sure. And they're just like, yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense,
no.
Man. Especially if I felt for how much he does for them. It didn't make any sense.
Like, I don't see anyone else out of there promoting that gym like he did.
No.
Not even close.
No.
Like, you could take the rest of the guys combined and not even close.
Yeah, and they have some big names in there, don't they?
Yeah. Couple guys. Aguilan's out of there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I don't know if Peter Davis still counts. Is he still fighting or not, or even training?
Yeah. I mean, tough guys, bro.
Yeah.
Tough guys. I mean, I fought 2 of them now.
Yeah.
But they only got 1 win on me, and that's all they're going to get.
Homeboy signed to 1, right? Or he's not 1, but he's on OWS.
One Warrior, One Warrior Series.
Is he? Did he fight already?
He fought.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fought some guy from Africa. I saw some.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's like a Muay Thai guy, but I think he got KO'd in the second round.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that he did get finished by whoever he fought.
Yeah.
He did.
OWS is interesting. Creating a lot of interesting fights.
A lot of fights too. Like one card has like 20 fights or something like that.
Yeah, I like that they do it in a studio because they can bang them out and you get good bang for your buck if you sit down and watch it.
A lot of highlights. You can make a highlight reel.
For sure. Especially what's the other one they do in China? It's not
Heroes.
OWS, Heroes. Yeah, and they like 30 fights on that, like just like a factory.
Yeah, nobody knows who's fighting.
No, sometimes like even you'll hear the announcers mess up the names because of the Chinese names. They're like, next fight, blue corner.
This guy,
yeah,
right here.
When blue corner.
I think it's a rat race, man, right now in China. To be honest with you.
Yeah, for sure. The UFC opening up the Performance Institute and.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like you got the UFC Academy, which is for all Chinese fighters basically.
Yeah.
And creating a system to build these Chinese fighters so they could put them into the UFC. Recently, I think one of the girls that is at the UFC Academy, she won the IMF World Championships.
Yeah.
Like a couple weeks ago, and you got Ramona there. You guys know Ramona?
No.
I know who she is. Yeah.
Ramona, she's from Hong Kong. She was at Phuket top team for a while.
Yep.
She fought for road, but now she's at that academy. She just fought in China and got like a 20-something second knockout.
Oh, nice.
After training like 6 months.
Yeah, Wei Li put a post up about it.
Yeah. So she's got some support out there, man. They're trying to do that. And then you got one out there doing the heroes and a few shows a year. I'm very interested to see like how that builds next year. You know what I mean? What happens next year with that?
Yeah, both those organizations have a Chinese champion, Chinese female champion. I don't think there's no male champion in one, right, from China.
I don't think so.
No.
Maybe kickboxing, is there? I don't know.
I don't follow the kickboxing rankings so much. It just they overturn the decisions whenever they want. So why invest time in watching it? But it is interesting, and one moved was Victor Cui out there to oversee operations in China years ago, but I really haven't seen much happen with that. And then UFC does a couple shows a year there, not a ton, and I'd like to see. One, it's a huge market, so it'd be great if it expanded and just opened stuff up for other people.
Yeah, definitely, man. When I went to the show in Shenzhen, right, when Weili won the title, and sitting cage side, and that shit was a shock, man. Like watching her finish her in like less than a minute.
Yeah, crazy fast.
Yeah, it was crazy, and the Chinese fans went nuts, man. Like they were into it, and the arena was pretty fucking big too. I was surprised like how big the arena was.
Packed out?
And it wasn't like fully packed out, but it was filled, man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit. Like there's a lot of Chinese people here. You know what I mean? Like imagine if they could build it more. They could fill in a huge ass stadium out there, like 50K or something like that if they do it right.
I remember like 4 years ago I reffed some fights in China up in Kunming. And there were people who like didn't even know what MMA was. There was a kid they flew in from Africa to take a fight, and he's like, "I've never had a fight before." He was fighting some Chinese guy on like the co-main. He's like, "What do you think I should do?" It's like, "Why'd you take this fight?" He's like, "I need the cash."
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of Russians that do that too now. You know, they have some kind of connections into China, so they're fighting in China like every month, and they're getting paid. You know what I mean? I think there's big money to be made in China, in the regional scenes, but you just got to be able to get like your hand in there somehow.
That's why Will Chope fights in China so much. I think he's getting paydays, you know.
Yeah.
And
he does a lot of K1 fights too.
Yeah, a lot of like K1 rules fights, but I think he just fights in China because like he's a working class guy, right? That's his paycheck. Yeah. So he's getting out there, and he's like, who's gonna pay him the most? If it's China, it's China. Exposure or not, TV or not, internet or not, right?
Right.
Take that fight.
If you have that UFC veteran attached to your name, a lot of people will, want you on your show.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if they got like a local hero they can peg up against you, and maybe they get a win. Yeah.
And take the chances.
Yeah, for
Why
sure.
not?
For sure. Now I know, Javi, last time you were out here, you were talking about like looking at bigger shows, right, where you want to go, and you were really big on Risen, right?
Yeah.
Wanted to get out to Japan and fight there. Man,
I'm just all about like trying to sign off on bucket list stuff. I've always wanted to fight in Japan, dude. Ever since I saw that documentary Choke.
Yeah.
And then I was always more of a big fan of Pride, just because it's like the freak show fights.
Yeah.
And, seeing like Sakuraba tapping out all the Gracies, like
Maybe we can get you a fight with Gabby Garcia.
I'll do it. I'll do it, Gabby.
Risen New Year show. Gabby, does she have a fight on the New Year show?
I'll be like running cross-eyed, dude, and like doing the little
bouncing
off the ropes, dude.
Like that grandma she fought.
Jeez, dude. I was like classic Japan, never lets me down, dude.
60-year-old Japanese woman facing a 300-pound Brazilian chick.
Yeah, man.
Sure thing.
But yeah, dude, just always want to fight in that Tokyo Stadium or the Yokohama Stadium, man. And I think like my style, I think FMD is prepping me for that type of environment.
It's definitely the right rule set.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Whether they can they still elbow?
No elbows.
No elbows. So it's just straight Pride rules.
Some fights elbows are allowed.
Really?
Every fight is a different contract.
Oh. So every fight's a different rule set.
That's right.
So you negotiate in each fight.
Exactly. So it'll say like on the what is it, the fight card?
Yeah.
It'll say like, rise in MMA rules with elbows or without elbows. You know, it all depends on what they want. Some fighters, they don't practice elbows, so they don't want to fight with elbows, and
they don't want to get cut.
Exactly. So, you know.
Babies.
Soccer kicks, knees to the head and elbows. It's Javier's bread and butter.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, I would just love an opportunity to do something like that, especially on a big
Where
stage.
you at, Risen? Where you at?
Where you at, guys? I'm here. I'll drop down to 55 or go up since they ain't got no welterweight.
Either one. They don't. That's right. They don't have well. Yeah, but I don't think it really matters what weight you're at. Just show up.
Just show up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I said, you could be fighting Gabby Garcia.
I'll do it. Or I fight that big sumo dude they always be putting on.
It's some random sumo guy versus Javier.
Hell yeah, man. Shoot.
Catch weight.
385
pound catch weight.
Heck yeah.
Bring back Bob Sapp. Why not?
Bob Sapp. Yeah, I fight Bob Sapp.
Yeah, he's living up in Chiang Mai, isn't he?
Is he for real?
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like I would see him. I feel he'd be pretty easy to spot out there.
Yeah, I know a few people who bumped into him up in Chiang Mai. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's living up there.
Really? That's a trip. Have you ever met Bob Sapp? Have you ever talked to him?
Yeah.
Like when he's not in his character, like in character.
Yeah.
He is super smart, man. Like I sat down and talked to him for like 3 hours one time.
I never had a conversation like that with him, but we've talked a bit.
He is so smart, man. Like I was just shocked at the things that he knows, and like how he lives his life. He's so frugal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he counts all the pennies, and he was just I don't want to get in too deep into the conversations, but it's just like I was very surprised at what type of person he was outside of his persona. And then when the fan comes, he'd be like, oh, he did that like his laugh or whatever. But really, he doesn't really have that laugh like that. He just does it for like the act. And a lot of the newer guys, they're doing that same thing. With the Colby Covingtons and. The triple C's.
I love that though. I love that showmanship of it. Like I know it's cringy a lot of times, but I still love it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, if a guy can make it come off genuine, then it's awesome.
But even if he can't, like Colby, it's clearly not genuine. I still love it.
Yeah, well, Colby like comes off as a troll with me too. Dude. Yeah. Bad suit. Yeah. Make America great again. The old UFC belt.
Right. I love Triple C too.
Oh, yeah.
The intergender champ shirt when he put that on.
Yeah, San Hudo, man.
Oh, what a beast, though.
Yeah. Gold medalist and two-time
champ. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's that Mexican Aztec warrior, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Killers.
Damn right.
Yeah.
But talking about Bob, I remember Bob Sapp, when he first time I really got a glimpse into who he was, he did that Real Sports interview with Brian Gumbel like 15 years ago or something. Talking about like the gimmick of being famous in Japan and what that was like, and you start to see like those aspects of his personality come through, and you're like, oh, he's like, it's kind of like a teddy bear mixed with Godzilla and King Kong's body. And that's true though. If you look at what he is and what he does, that's what he represents.
Yeah, I mean, you're spot on. I mean, didn't Rampage also say the same thing when they made him like wear that chain and like howling and doing all that stuff?
So go back. The first time I ever saw a Rampage fight was not King of the Cage. Maybe King of the Cage or Gladiators Challenge. He fought Marvin Eastman, beat him, and then you hear his post fight interview after that fight is Rampage, right? And then is Quentin Jackson. And then everything you see after that, because he went to Pride right after that, that's Rampage.
Yeah.
So Quentin Jackson and Rampage were two very different people.
Yeah.
So you watch that old Marvin Eastman fight and watch his post-fight interview, and you get an idea of like how much that character is.
Interesting. I got to take a look at that interview then.
I want to say that probably goes back to like 2000 or something, maybe even before that. Like old. It was either Gladiator Challenge or King of the Cage.
Yeah. Where was that at? He's fighting on the East Coast, wasn't he?
No, those were Cali fights, right?
Yeah,
so both of those organizations were reservation organizations. So you know how it works in Cali, right?
Yeah.
So there's like you're either sanctioned by the California State Athletic Commission or you're fighting on reservations.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 things at a reservation. You got fireworks, you got cigarettes, and you got casinos.
Yeah.
If you grew up, I don't know, I grew up on the West Coast, so from my experiences, that's the only reasons you would go to the reservation if you're not Native American.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What about you? What was your experience of?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's how all my amateur fights were on Indian reservations, And I mean, it was just basically a fight, man. There's like not like these guys have it today, man. They got all the shin pads and the headgear and all that. It's like, no, you guys are allowed to do elbows, you're allowed to do knees, and it's like, but we're not getting paid. Nope. Just for the experience, guys. Come on.
You need those amateur fights.
Yeah. But you were out by like Seattle, right?
Yeah.
So you got that one that's like right in between Tacoma, ain't it?
Yeah, there's one of them. I don't know. There was a few casinos out there where they're just big and
they always have fights out there.
Money machines, and fights all the time. So, you know, you never know who's gonna show up and fight at those places. It's just,
just could be some dude.
Yeah, just could be some dude that's could be the in the UFC in a few years.
Yo, imagine being like out in like Seattle though, like you live out in Washington, you're like, I want to take a fight. You show up to like a Indian reservation, like you see Jeff Munson who lived in like Olympia, like, no, I'm good. I'm just gonna go back to my house.
Yeah, Dennis Hallman, that whole crew, Josh Barnett, even Bob Sapp, he was also part of that little group back in the days too. And my brother knows all those guys. My brother, he grew up wrestling. And
those guys were all trained out of AMC back then?
What was it called, CSW? Or?
It was...
AMC's Hume's gym, right?
Yeah, there was a few guys from AMC, but that's more of just Hume, what he was doing, I think. And then the rest of the guys, they were just kind of spread out, I think. And what's his name? Dennis Hallman had his own gym where he had his own fighters. That's where Misha Tate and Brian Caraway, and that's where my brother was. He trained with all of them. My brother knows all of them, pretty well. He went to school with them and everything.
Did he ever hook up with Misha?
Nah, man.
Poor guy.
Oh, wow.
Pre-titty or post-titty?
Yeah, like when I was taking all my amateur fights in NorCal, it was the Gold Country Casino, which is like right outside, and all of like Nick Diaz's guys would come out. So they'd be there cornering them, dude, and you're all super scared to fight this guy. He's like, bro, he trains with the Diaz guy.
They call Metal Militia or whatever.
Yeah, that's when they're styled out, just looking like fucking somebody shit in their cereal bowl, just fucking mad dogging. But yeah, man, that's the same thing, and also with the alpha male guys. So like amateurs, that was like our circuit when we were coming up, just fighting all these cats.
That's a rough scene to be in.
Yeah, but why do you think I'm so good, bro?
Yeah, right. Fighting monsters.
Yeah, dude.
Unknown monsters.
Freaking animals, man. So like,
that California scene is something special, man. It's just so like the quality gyms like that are just packed in there. Insane.
Everywhere. I mean, I read an article not too long ago saying that like San Diego is now the mecca of jiu-jitsu.
Really?
Yeah, you got guys like Aldos, you got 10th Planet there, you got Victory MMA with Dean Lister, man, you got Fabio Santos, anybody has a gym there.
Speaking of Dean Lister, you guys ever see that video of him, like, he went home and there's like some cranked out, like meth addict in his house? Yeah, like dude, robbing his shit. Have you seen this?
I've saw something about
the
that.
Guy legit looks like he could be an alien. Like, if Eddie Bravo saw this video, he'd be like, "Yo, that's an alien."
Dude, he looked like Voldemort, man. I
remember
that. Yeah, he was creepy as hell. But yeah, matter of fact, when I was in England, dude, he was doing seminars through there. I went and did a seminar.
Dean Lister or the guy?
Dean Lister. This is how you break into Dean Lister's gym, right? So you smoke some crack.
Dean Lister's a monster.
Dude, he's huge. He's still huge.
He's like 300 pounds now, right?
Yeah, he's a big guy, man. But he's an excellent teacher. I used to train under him as a white belt when I was living in San Diego, and
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like you're a white belt trainer under Dean Lister.
Yeah, and then it was kind of a trip, because then it's a flash forward. It's like, what was that? I was 18. It was like 9 years later, and I'm a brown belt. And
that would have been before he was even fighting MMA, right?
No, he was fighting. He already fought MMA a few times.
Because he did like high level grappling for a long time before he fought MMA.
Yeah, and then wasn't he on one of the Ultimate Fighters, like as a coach as well?
I think he was like an assistant coach for one of the main coaches.
Yeah, I think it was
Tito, maybe?
Yeah, Tito.
Yeah.
I think he was the assistant coach. But yeah, man, like it was kind of crazy. He's like, well, where are you from? Because he was trying to introduce everybody. He was like, oh, I'm from San Diego. He's like, oh, nice, whereabouts? And I was like, actually, man, I used to train with you when I was really young. He's like, oh, bro, it was good to hear. Yeah, man. Blister to see you. It's just nice. Oh, you're brown belt now, so you're like a junior black belt. It's really good, huh? Yeah, man. I learned a lot from him, and then like coming back, it's like, wow, it's kind of like a to see how far you come,
Didn't he fight at 170?
No, I don't think so, dude. Look at that guy.
I remember he fought he didn't fight at heavyweight.
I think he fought 85s.
Maybe 85.
That's the lightest that dude can get.
Yeah,
his frame, there's no way, man.
He's a big dude.
Look at his head. He's just massive.
Did you see his grappling match with Josh Barnett?
Hell yeah,
yeah.
Dude.
How awesome was that?
I freaked out because of the catch wrestling move, dude. I was like, yes, the scarf hold, yeah.
I love Barnett.
Is he? Do you think? Who were we talking about?
Dean Lister.
Dean Lister, yeah. Do you think he's like the godfather of
Footlocks?
Yeah, footlocks.
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
And then what do you consider Danaher?
Danaher's the guy who made him popular.
He's the guy who perfected it.
He's the Professor X.
He made it into a system.
Yeah.
You know, Dean, and then when I was doing that seminar with Dean, he did go over footlocks, but he basically went over a straight ankle lock, and then I could see how Danaher got inspired by it because he showed just a very simple system, and then like you can just now like start laying traps in it, and that's what kind of made the Danaher Death Squad like their little signature style, man. But yeah,
I've never trained with Danaher, but I have a few friends who have popped into his seminars or trained at his gym, and you know, like they just say like the way he teaches it and breaks it down is like on another level, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what separates the two.
That accent, it's the accent, man.
yeah, man.
Yeah, just the way he does it, like breaks it down, and you know, like I think when you look at it like a system, right? When you look at like anything, jiu-jitsu, catch wrestling, Muay Thai, systematically, and you start to understand the layers and the levels to it, and then you have someone who can take that and actually teach it in a way that people understand and can implement, makes a huge difference.
And that's all. I mean, to me, that always shows a really what's the person's level of understanding of, like, particularly like let's say jiu-jitsu. If you can teach it to somebody who doesn't know anything and they can take that away from it, your level of understanding is super high. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, there are also people who are just like really masterful who can't teach that well.
I know, and I don't think they have a better. I think those people don't have a good understanding as somebody who can teach it and be masterful.
I don't know, because I think teaching, right, is a very, very specific skill, right? Being able to teach something in general. That's why there are people who dedicate their whole career to understanding how to teach, right? Let alone not even talking about what they're teaching. Like there's teaching methodologies that people learn and they master, and I think someone like John Danaher probably studies that, right? Or someone like a Greg Jackson, right, studies that type of methodology for teaching, coaching, and educating others, versus focusing on yourself and being able to like dial it in and do something perfectly every time yourself. And I think they're two. You need that deep understanding to teach it well, but at the same time, you don't need to be able to teach it well to have a deep understanding.
Say that again.
You need to have a deep understanding to teach it well. But you don't need to know how to teach it well to have a deep understanding.
Okay. Yeah. I think, maybe, man. I just think, like, when it comes to that, and because I am a coach as well, you know, that the moment I I started teaching a lot, did my understanding of MMA in general and just martial arts in general just became a lot deeper, you know. And even in jiu-jitsu, once you kind of achieve, like, a purple belt level, you're, at least what my original teacher says, that's when you have to start teaching, because then you have to teach all the basics to somebody, and then your level of understanding becomes deeper. Or maybe it's just a way for the black belts to just not teach anymore.
Not to have to work as hard.
Yeah.
What do you think about? I saw something on like one of the jiu-jitsu forums about, like, if you're not a purple belt, you can't teach. Like, you know, you should not teach or something like that.
I would be inclined to agree with something like that, just because you do need a basic understanding of the art to teach it.
But then going back to what you said, not everybody who's a black belt competition is a really good teacher. I've been to seminars where, like, I pay $50 and this dude, like, he can't convey the information over, and he has to bring his coach in to do it. And it's like, bro, I paid you to do this for me, you know? But like a purple belt who can be a really good teacher might be better than a competition black belt who doesn't really know how to teach.
As a teacher, but I mean, do you think someone has a deep enough understanding of jiu-jitsu to teach it before purple belt level?
At purple belt level, I believe so.
Before purple belt level?
No, I don't
He's
think
saying you should be a minimum purple belt to teach.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Because I've seen guys with blue belts have academies.
Yeah, I've noticed that particularly out here too. But it's also because there's not that many people, you know. I mean, even when I was coming up, dude, there were sometimes gyms where it's run by a blue belt. Yeah. Because it wasn't that popular at that time.
Or even it's a guy who maybe has a background in MMA or a catch wrestling background and then was learning jiu-jitsu as a secondary or tertiary skill set.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the case. I understand that, especially if you're building a system around other things.
if I was a blue belt, I owned the academy, and then Javier came to my academy, and he stepped in with his brown belt on, I'd be like, oh, shit. Man, I'm in some trouble right now. Because, you know, you got to spar them, you know what I mean? You got to show your students, like, you could hang, you know what I mean? Like,
that's part of it.
What about that situation? Like, what if someone like Javier comes in, I'm a blue belt, I'm teaching these guys that don't know anything, and he comes here and just crushes me in front of everybody.
He's probably going to be losing some students.
Yeah.
It'd be worse if he showed up as a white belt and didn't even put the brown belt on and then schooled you.
I've done that once. Because I forgot my belt. And I showed up to it was in England too. I showed up to an open mat and I totally forgot my belt. And somebody's like, here, you throw on a white belt. And it's the first time meeting a lot of people. Hey, nice to meet you. Yeah. Just tapped everybody out, bro. They're like, bro, you're really good, man. Yeah, man. I just started the other day, just going with it.
I watched a few UFCs and I thought, hey, I'd give this a try.
Yeah, I watched a few Danaher videos, you know, whatever, some YouTube here and there.
What about this situation? I've seen this happen too. A guy, he's like a judo medalist, you know, in the Olympics, right? And he starts jiu-jitsu. Let's say they give him his blue belt off the bat. Do you think that's fair?
That's fair enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you think it's fair that he goes out to competitions as a blue belt?
Yeah.
Against amateur blue belt.
If he's a judo medalist in the Olympics?
Yes.
No.
But
because judo's so it depends, right? So if we're talking like modern judo, almost yeah. But if you're talking like pre-2000s judo or pre-2005 judo, then no. Because they're two different animals. Judo really went through a lot of rule changes, took away a lot of the submissions and anything that you're not allowed to touch the legs in judo now.
Because it wasn't because a bunch of Russian guys were like just beating the crap out of people.
Well, also like a bunch of American wrestlers.
Yeah.
Right. Like he used to fight. He fought MMA in Strikeforce actually. Roddy Ferguson is a heavyweight. I actually grappled him in a tournament a long time ago.
Oh.
But his whole judo game, he's a 2-time Olympian. His whole judo game was based on leg attacks, and he was masterful at it at heavyweight at judo. But you know, today in judo, that whole style doesn't exist because of the rule changes.
How badass do you have to be that a whole sport changes its rules just so you can win?
That's what Alistair Overeem.
Yeah.
Remember when he was fighting
in K1? Yeah, they got rid of knees in the clinch because of Alistair.
Wow.
They got rid of the clinch, I think.
No, I think you can still clinch, but it's
you can't like hang in there, right? You can't like work from it.
I think it's like a 2-second or a 3-second.
You got to break.
He was just vaporizing fools with those knees.
Remember that was when he was Ubereem. That was like,
oh man,
Ubereem.
Just juice to the tits.
That's
dude.
No, horse meat, bro. Horse meat. Come on.
Meat.
That's Japanese sushi.
Yeah.
Oh, God, man. I remember used to watching his training videos. Like he would take like one of those gigantic like what are those, like, you know, those cartoonish weights? Like, it comes like
the
that.
anvil, yeah.
Yeah, and he would lift that on a stair and then box jump up and then lift it up again, dude. I was just like, look at this dude.
Dude was a monster. Like straight 265 ripped.
Yeah, man. It was amazing.
But I remember when he it was supposed to be his title fight in the UFC. He tested positive for elevated testosterone to epitestosterone, like 18-1 or something insane.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah. He's like, oh, my doctor gave me something for a rib injury. Like, really, dude. Then he lost like 40 pounds.
I wonder what Vitor's gonna look like when he comes back. Cause they're starting to have
super jacked.
In one championship.
He's coming back at heavyweight.
WADA testing, bro.
That, right?
WADA testing. Come on, he's gonna look normal.
No, I was talking to one of his training partners. You know, I interviewed one of his training partners from Hard Knocks, and he slipped out, said, yeah, Vitor's gonna come back at heavyweight, and I was just like, huh. And then one championship they put out that silhouette who should fight Vitor, and it's all heavyweights on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, I hope it's Brandon Vera. I just want to see it. I don't know why. I just want to see him fight Brandon Vera.
Don't do that to Brandon Vera. Don't make Brandon Vera fight a juiced out Vitor. Come on. Come on.
That was probably like the scariest fighter for a while.
Yeah.
TRT Vitor.
TRT Vitor, yeah.
He took eyes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He took someone's
literally
eye.
took an eye.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before you came, man. Jeez.
But how badass does that make Bisping that he lost an eye and still won a belt?
Yeah.
But yeah, don't do that to Brandon. Brandon's a nice dude, man. Don't make him fight a juiced out to the gills Vitor at heavyweight.
Well, you just make it fair. They just take the same amount of juice. You know what I mean?
A 265 shredded Vitor? Come on. That's like
wheel kick of death.
Right? That's like some Godzilla shit.
He's gonna decapitate him.
Right?
They go kick for kick. You know, I would like to see that.
No, I don't want to see that.
I want to see it, man.
I mean, I do want to see it, but come on.
It would be real Mortal Kombat, dude.
It would be, right? like Vitor wins by decapitation from uppercut.
It's all fatality.
Finish him.
Vitor was so badass. Like, you know, Dan Henderson. Like, nobody knocks out Dan Henderson.
That's right.
TRT Vitor does.
Yeah. That's when I was like, oh, shit. Because Dan Henderson is, like, my favorite fighter of all time.
Oh, yeah, bro. I mean,
how can he not? Dude's a legend.
A legend, you know what I mean?
Legend.
Like, there's no doubt you cannot fight that he is not a legend.
Absolute monster.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, yeah, Vitor knocked his ass out, like, twice.
Yeah.
That's TRT Vitor.
In one fight. You know what I mean? Like, that's
TRT Vitor, man.
That's insane, man.
You can't just say Vitor. You have to specify that it is TRT Vitor we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, bring him back, man. We miss him. The MMA community misses TRT Vitor. Bring him back.
Well,
sign a petition. Dude.
Yo, but you know he's
online voting.
Your homeboy's never gonna test positive in one championship. I know that, and I'm sure they're gonna test him.
Dude. Oh, hey, I got a question for you guys. If you had a Mount Rushmore of MMA, who would be on there?
Ooh. We're talking so Mount Rushmore.
Like for the greatest you think of all time.
I gotta put Randy on there.
Randy. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
I wouldn't put Randy on there.
Saku.
Saka would be on mine. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you put Randy?
I don't know. I just feel like there's guys. How many people are on the Mount Rushmore? 5?
4.
4.
Yeah, I don't think he's top 4.
I think
that's my opinion.
Yeah, but Mount Rushmore, you're also looking at like historical like significance, right? Like the things that he did. You look at the people on Mount Rushmore, and then you look at like in the MMA world. Yeah, I would put Randy. I would put Saku for sure.
Yeah, Sakuraba, GSP.
Oh, definitely put GSP.
I don't know if I would put GSP.
GSP is probably the greatest fighter of all time. That's my opinion.
It's just that nobody could get past his jab and nobody could get past his takedown, you know?
That jab was amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just that if he didn't have to do all that. I mean, look at the one person that he couldn't take down, Matt Hughes, and he head kicked him, knocked him out, you know? So I think it's just he played it safe because he was the champ, you know? If I don't have to I don't have to use my A game, then why bring it out?
I'm not saying GSP's not great. I'm just saying I don't know if he makes that list for me.
He retired twice with the belt.
Yeah.
Nobody has
that. That's true.
I don't think anybody's retired once with the belt.
That's true. He came back and took the middleweight strap.
Perfect timing.
What if he goes back and fights Khabib at 55
and beats him
and then retires again?
Are you gonna put him on the Mount Rushmore? Come on.
No, because then he gets his own monument, right? He gets like
he's a Jordan.
He gets his own thing, right? Like.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so I'd say Saku, GSP, Fedor.
I wouldn't put Fedor. I think Fedor is overrated.
You think Fedor is overrated?
Yeah.
I just think because his style in particular was made for MMA and kind of branched off into what modern MMA is, you know? I felt like he was kind of the forefront of it.
I feel like he had some great fights in Pride, but at the same time he had a lot of cans.
That's true.
Right? Like, yeah, he fought both the Nogs, he fought Crow Cobb, he beat all those guys. Yeah. But then look at like the rest of his record. So would I put him? I would probably hold back on Fedor for me.
Yeah.
I don't consider him like the greatest.
Yeah, and then I would say Silva is the last one.
Anderson Silva.
Anderson, yeah. Yeah, you can't not put Anderson there.
Yeah, man. There was for a while. I remember, I think the first time I saw him was that Chris Lieben fight.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
Well, I'd watched him in cage raids before that, and I remember when people were like, oh, Lieben's going to kill this guy. I'm like, what are you talking about? Who do you think he's fighting? And Silva came out. I remember when he was basically walking Lieben down and landing everything.
Yeah, 100%. I think he had 100% accuracy in that fight.
And, like, he was walking forward and, like, hitting him with knees. Like, I'm like, who does this? And then he rearranged Rich Franklin's face in the next fight. I mean.
And this was when Lieben was a world beater, too.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of hype.
Yeah. No, Lieben was always, like, just a guy who was, like, you knew he was coming to fight. You knew he was tough. And if you got finished, you earned it. And I remember he beat Rich Franklin in the next fight, and Rich Franklin was on fire. And beat him 2 fights in a row decisively.
Yeah, it wasn't even a contest,
no.
man.
That was the first time I heard about Muay Thai, man. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I got to learn it.
Yo, that plum is like, dude, what is that?
Man, yeah. I think that probably inspired a whole generation of guys like, yo, I gotta learn this Muay Thai thing.
You know what's crazy? When you go back and watch that first Rich Franklin Anderson Silva fight, you can tell too that Rich was ready for the plum. He postures up, picks his head up. He just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, he couldn't break it, man.
Yeah, I mean, like he clearly trained for it. He clearly was ready, and it was just too much.
Yeah.
And you think of who Rich Franklin was then, and you're just like, Anderson was a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Dude, was it Joe Riggs that who was it that Rich Franklin kicked, man? It was just nasty. The guy like went.
Nate Marquardt.
No,
not Marquardt. Nate
Corey.
Nate
There
Corey.
you go.
Yeah, that Nate Corey was not ready for that fight. I don't know how that happened. Like that was not a fight Nate Corey needed to be having. He was nowhere near that level.
Yeah, man, that was wild, dude. I missed that Zuffa area time, man. That was a good time.
You know what's crazy? Middleweight before that was like such a shit show. Before Rich Franklin, middleweight was a shit show.
How about that? I'm trying to.
So you had Evan Tanner was the champ, right? That's
right.
Who Rich won it from. But before that, wasn't it like Dave Benet, and before that, like Murillo Bustamante or something.
That's going way back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
man.
there was
I
these
totally
huge
forgot.
gaps in middleweight. You know, it was always this kind of overlooked thing. And then Rich Franklin sort of legitimized middleweight, and then Anderson dominated for like a
Dethroned him,
decade.
yeah, and then everybody's like, oh, wow.
Anderson's run, it was like watching Michael Jordan play in the 90s. Like watching the 2000s with Anderson doing what
So
he did.
great.
Yeah, it was just like, you cannot, I don't care about the steroids, you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
if you're going to talk about steroids, then you better get rid of the Pride era, everything, man. You can't put anybody on
No
the list
one,
for
no one
that.
ever tested positive in Pride, bro. What are you talking about?
Was that written in the contract?
yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
You're
Like,
not testing
we will not
positive.
test for steroids.
Oh man.
What do you guys think about that? Like with the whole like PEDs and the steroids and do you put, do you think like, hey, it's just part of the sport? It's just like
We should
people
let
are
the
gonna
guy
do
who
it.
fights answer that. I mean,
Well, it's funny, man. You mentioned that because like I did a written interview for BJJ Asia, and they asked me that same question, like, how do you feel about like in MMA and Jiu-Jitsu about PEDs and how do you feel about it? And I basically explained it this way: it's like, listen, we're in a sport where the people are hyper competitive people. That's just how they are. That's how everybody's wired, and they're gonna find any way they can to have an advantage on a competition. Because in this sport, both jiu-jitsu and MMA, one fight can change the athlete's life forever.
yeah.
One great performance can get them going off to the thing. So, of course, they're going to find ways to do it. Of course, they're going to, and they still do with strict testing and rule sets and punishments. These guys always find a way, man. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I thought weren't doing it, and they got popped, like Fitch and freaking...
Fitch was the
Dillashaw.
biggest surprise for me.
When Fish did, it broke my heart, bro,
Yeah.
because I always knew he was fighting clean for the longest time, and it's just
Yeah.
kind of. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't think steroids aren't a guarantee to make you a great fighter.
For
a good
sure.
athlete. They help.
And
with
you can
recovery.
train a lot more.
You can train a lot more.
yeah.
You can do all that, but that's what you need to do is the drilling and the rolling and the training, man. And
Dillashaw didn't surprise me as much, but Fitch was like the one that broke my heart.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
if anyone was clean, I would have bet the bank that
Fitch.
Fitch. Yeah.
But when you got a guy like, let's say Dillashaw, he gets popped for EPO, which
Yeah.
is like
This is
insane,
crazy.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you got money. You have to have money to be doing EPO.
Yeah.
It's not like you're just a regular fighter taking EPO.
You gotta be on that Lance Armstrong
Exactly. You got to have that cancer money, right? So now, then you start to dissect his whole career, right? Like, was he taking EPO the whole time? You know what I mean? Like, you go back and think about the Hendon Barao fight, because that's when he blew the doors off and just like came onto the scene when he just dismantled Hendon
Short
Barao.
notice.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Hendon Barao was on like a
He was a
90
killer, dude.
fight
He was a
killing
murderer.
World beat. We were just talking about Barao downstairs.
Yeah, and Barao. Like, we're saying the USADA thing. Once USADA came in, he just dropped as well, man.
Apparently, I read something that EPO wasn't something that was tested for every test too. So
It's the same thing with things like ACH and a
Yeah.
lot of other. There's just certain things that aren't being tested, and guys are taking it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even I don't know what Diaz's thing was, but a lot of guys take a lot of peptides. They take a lot of things because they're not testing for those. you
So
know?
with the Diaz thing, I was really blown away by how quickly they all of a sudden, oh, it's good. You're fine.
Yeah.
That was a little shady.
Yeah, a little shady. It's like, yeah, you're not. I mean, all these guys are saying, yeah, well, I'm not taking steroids. It's like, bro, but what else are you taking? You know,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of other stuff.
A lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, even me, I'm not like I'm only have 6 fights, dude.
Yeah.
But I've had doctors approach me, say, hey, I can put you on some stuff that you can be clean and never get tested for.
Yeah.
It's like, You know,
lot of anti-aging clinics out there doing work with fighters right now, like old Balco days, you know.
Yeah, so it's just, I mean, I think it's just part of the game because, like, even like that season the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Do you know that they got popped for more PEDs than any other NFL team that year? For everything, bro. Anything that you look on that list, they were on it. Adderall, this and that, blah, whatever.
Wasn't Bob Sapp kicked out of the NFL for testing positive for something?
Yeah.
That was his deal, I think.
Steroids, yeah.
That's right. But, I mean, a lot of those things are just intelligence tests, right? It's just like, oh, listen, dude, just don't come dirty during the season.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't think, this is the other thing, right? MMA makes such a big deal, UFC makes such a big deal of drug testing. None of the other major sports leagues do, and I don't really care.
Exactly.
Right? So, for me as a fan, I'm not talking like as a fighter, you know, because you're the one putting your health on the line against someone who might be TRT Vitor.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but for me as a fan, I don't give a fuck. Like, if the fighters are the best possible versions of themselves and they're putting on the best possible fights, if you're TRT Vitor, I'm going to watch it.
I ask fighters that from time to time,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, if let's say your opponent is on steroids, you know, do you care? Would you still fight him? And sometimes I feel like some of the fighters answer with the question that, you know, they answer with something that the fans want to hear instead of what they really feel about it. You know what I mean? It's almost like an ego thing, you know, like, oh, you're on steroids, I'll still beat that ass. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Step in that cage. You know, like that. Yep. So I feel I wish like more people would come out and be more honest about it. You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, because not everybody agrees with it. Not everybody's gonna be there saying like, oh, they don't. You know, I don't care. You know, I don't care if you're on.
If I was a fighter, my answer would be way different than as a fan.
Exactly.
Right? As a pundit, as a fan, I don't give a fuck. If everyone, especially if it's consensual, if everyone doesn't give a fuck, like if whoever they sign to fight Vitor, that person better damn know that he's coming juiced to the gills. If you think otherwise, you're an idiot. But like where it's shitty is like someone like Bisping, who he had to know that Vitor was juiced to the gills, and he loses his eye over it, and Vitor skates away with a win. You know, it's a shitty situation. Now I think long term, Bisping's going to have a much better post fight career than Vitor. So haha in the long run, but still. You know, and I would feel bad if, like, you go into a fight, Javi, and you get hurt by someone who's juiced to the gills.
Yeah, I mean...
You know, that would make me feel bad. But if everyone's on a level playing field, or at least a level field of understanding, I'm okay.
What about Paul Harris?
Well, he's not on drugs. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Juice-a-mar, dude. Juice-a-mar Paul Harris.
Remember, like, people used to put up Paul Harris?
Yeah.
You know, on like online, they'd be like, "Yeah, Paul Harris just won," and I was like, "Who the hell is
Paul Harris?"
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, okay."
Do you see the photo where he was like 300 pounds? He's jacked.
When he was, I think he was fighting Tonin, dude.
Yeah.
And he just looked massive. I was like, "What happened, man? What is he on?"
And he had a porn mustache.
Yeah. He looked like Zorro.
Yeah.
It's like when you beat all the what was it, like the jiu-jitsu like blue belts, and this is the final boss. Dude, yeah, man, that guy was terrified with leg locks too, man. Think about it, you just destroy everybody. Even in practice, I heard that he would just wrench on your leg.
Really?
To the point that they said that he had to go to a sports psychologist and be like, "Listen, why are you
killing people?
Why are you breaking everybody's leg? What's going on here?
Like, why would you just crank it like that? I don't get that.
I don't know, man. I mean, he grew up like out in the favelas, didn't he? Like,
yeah, but I mean that doesn't excuse like destroying people's careers and livelihoods.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. The sport. There's some people that are just animals, bro.
Frank Mir was like that back in the day, though. Like,
yeah,
he would grab shit and just crank it, and he wouldn't stop until the ref was on it, but he would stop.
Yeah.
Paul Harris has a habit of not.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that Frank Mir when he snapped
Nogueira, dude.
I show people that all the time. I've never seen it. I'll be like, check this shit out.
Did you see the X-ray of that? No. It was like the way it broke. Yeah. Well, the way it broke though, it like broke on a spiral. So it was like a crazy break. And he also broke what's his name, Sylvia's arm. Yeah. And you remember? You guys remember? Was it Frank Mir fought Tank Abbott? And he caught him he tapped him with a toe hold, an unsecured toe hold. That was probably my favorite submission ever because he just dove on his foot and twisted it. He was like, done.
I'm not having any of that, dude. That's hilarious.
Just laying next to his body, like.
Now, going back to, FMD, that knockout that you had a few years back was at the old Insanity.
Yeah.
You've been fighting, you fought a few times in the new one, right?
Yeah.
What differences, do you feel any differences fighting? You're in the same club, but not in the same club.
To be honest, man, the old club I actually preferred because in the warm-up was like angled off because like it's like a corner. So the other guy, you couldn't see the guy. Now it's super intense. You're literally warming up on the mat and the guy is right there. So you're both eyeing each other and then you going right back into whipping pads and this and that. And then somebody's like, hey, don't go over the washroom. It's like, oh, dude, let's not go over this because I don't want them to see what we're going to be planning. So it makes it a little more intense, man. And then when they start calling you out and you like walk up these stairs, now you're up in this dingy hall, like in the middle of just waiting.
Those are some dingy ass stairs for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they cleaned it up now. I remember the first time when they went.
How dirty.
Yeah, it was bad.
Covered in concrete dust.
Yeah, dude, little rat cell running by, dude, and just chilling.
Well, remember the first one that they did there? They had all the trash out in the parking garage.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There was like, where's the bathroom over here? It's like, oh, dude.
Yeah, just someone get killed in here?
Yeah, dude.
Actually, there was blood on the sink when we first went
true.
down. Yeah.
I didn't want to touch nothing, bro. It was like
an obscene amount of blood too. Before nothing had even opened there yet, and there's like blood splatter on the thing. I'm like, this is interesting.
Man, just taking out the TP, just covering the seat, dude, just like.
Yeah, but there was like literally a 10-foot pile of trash between the two warm-up areas.
Yeah.
Like, just stacked. I'm like, where did this all come from? They haven't even opened yet.
But yeah, man, it's like in the bottom of the parking lot now, and then I mean the club itself is nice, dude, and then like the feeling when you walk out, it feels a little bit bigger and it just feels legitimate with all the shows and the lights and the sound system.
It's the vibe, yeah.
The vibe is good, man. I mean,
all the
you haven't been here
prostitutes,
since the last one.
Yeah,
Huh?
I haven't been here since that. You remember?
But that's right, man. Yeah, it's a lot better, dude.
I can't wait, man, until Saturday to
it's gonna be wild.
Experience it one more time.
Yeah, man. I mean, every time people ask me like, what is it like? I'm like, bro, it is a 1980s like blood sport action movie.
It is unreal. Like to be there live. Watching on the stream is like kind of sort of shitty actually, and like everything that makes it epic live is sort of cheesy on the stream. Yeah. When you're there in person and like John jumps up on the cage and he's singing "Enter Sandman" and these ring girls walking out with like it's just absolutely wild.
Yeah, man, I can't wait until Saturday, man.
I mean, when you've been to one and then like that anticipation you have, like when the lights drop. And then Enter Sandman comes on, and John Nutt comes walking out from the back singing. Makes his way into the cage. I mean, there's something just so special about that beginning. And then every fight that follows is going to be something special.
Yeah, man. I mean, him singing even the Thai national anthem. I don't know why that gets me pumped, dude. I'm downstairs and I hear him like singing it and just like, all right, let's do this, man. And then he always gives us all like a big pump up too, right before. He's like, all right, man, this is the freaking show. I want you guys to go out there and just freaking show what it's about. Make sure to protect yourself. He just gets you amped, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's definitely, there's a level to it. There's something about it. Like I've been to hundreds of shows all over the world and nothing at all is even close to FMD.
Yeah,
not even.
Yeah, you can't compare it, man.
You can't.
Like every show I've been to, the best show is FMD.
Yeah, stadiums to literally. I've been to fights in parking garages in Thailand, like real legit, grimy bare knuckle stuff. And no matter where you are in the world, what you're doing, there's something about FMD that's just special, but it's special live, right? You really have to be there to experience it.
Yeah, to really get the feel for it, man. Like, I mean, like all my professional fights have been in this, and just kind of seeing how it progresses. Like being at the card on like being the first one on the card, to like being always like through the middle now, and then the end now for the last few. People are super drunk by the end of it, dude. Yeah. They get really intense.
People grabbing the cage.
Dude, when I wedge Mustafa up against the cage, one of this guys like, I had him cranked in that Kimura. The guy's like, just tap. Just tap, man. You're so done. He's gonna break your arm. And I'm trying not to laugh at the same time because I just kind of found it funny.
Yeah.
I'm just like, stop, dude. I gotta focus.
Yeah, for those of you guys who've never seen an FMD, like the audience is right next to the cage.
Like, man.
Like not like they're 5 feet back next to the cage. Like they are touching the cage, sticking their fingers through.
Yeah, trying to grab at you sometimes, man.
Yeah, and it's intense.
Yeah, dude, and like just the whole feel of it, man. It's just something. Yeah, it is special. Like I wish they could make the production on the stream just so you could kind of have that feeling towards it.
I think there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way to have both.
Yeah.
Right. Like for me, like the way the lighting is, it just doesn't film well. Right. It just doesn't stream well.
Right.
But if it was like super bright and well lit, like a one show or a UFC show, you would lose the feeling that makes FMD special.
Yeah.
Right. And when you go back and you're like, when you go to the club and you watch those fights and like you see what's going on, it's something really, there's a vibe. There's also an energy to that room that you don't get in an arena. Right.
Yeah.
I've been to packed arena shows and you don't have that anticipation, that intensity that Full Metal Dojo brings.
Yeah, man. And I mean, it's just wild.
Yeah.
So what were you gonna say, John?
You don't have that intimacy, man.
Yeah.
Like, the fans are intimate for real, like intimate. Like you're there, like you're pretty much in the cage.
Yeah.
Like you go to a UFC show, you're gonna be way back there. Like you're watching the screen the whole time. You're not even gonna be, you don't even see what's going on. Really, you're just watching the screen. You might as well be at home.
That's why I don't mind to watch big shows from home because you have a better view. Right, I can watch UFC from home and not miss anything. If I go live, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? But at FMD too, I've seen like, I've repped a lot of fights in FMD. I've seen like blood go flying into the audience and people not know. So like you said, by those last fights, people are drunk. Luckily, John is probably the only he's probably the only show in Southeast Asia that tests for like hepatitis and HIV, and he runs the guys through the gamut. They do you guys have health checks tomorrow or Friday, right?
Friday morning.
Yeah, so John will bring everyone to the hospital. They'll do blood work. They'll get like, the doctors will check them all out. They'll weigh in.
And to be honest, man, it's very professional. The same. Like I've always been tagging along with other guys who fought in the U.S. and wherever, and it's just kind of, it's not done like how he does it.
I've worked for bigger promotions that don't put as much care into fighter safety as John does.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it is because first and foremost, John's a fan. He loves the sport.
Yeah, and he fought.
Yeah, he's fought
on his own. Or wasn't there one FMD where he's like, now next I'm gonna be.
I fought John at FMD.
Oh, that's right.
Right? So, I mean, that was actually, we fought at Live House. That was like the last show at Live House.
Oh, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. But I think it's going to be fun to look back on that and be like, we did something special that nobody else was doing. For sure.
And like I said, first and foremost, he's a fan, right? And that's why he takes care of fighters. And like you said, he is a fighter himself.
Yeah.
And I've been to bigger organizations that do not want to spend the money to take care of fighters. And I know it's not cheap. And John comes out of pocket on that before the show even gets going. So big props to him for that. And then also, that when that blood flies into the audience, no one's getting hepatitis.
Someone needs to go in there, man, and just document everything. And then a writer needs to just write something, man, a script and a TV show, just starting from the first FMD. Because, there's so many stories. So many crazy shit that happens.
So many characters, dude.
Yeah, so many characters.
So many characters.
Think about like just Top Noi.
Yeah.
Top
now he's
Noi,
fighting.
Now he's fighting Ryzen, but think of him. He's just a character in himself.
I love Top Noi. He's so amazing to watch fight. I fought when he knocked out Ole Larson's brother. It's Anthony Larson, I think. I was the ref for that fight, and then he got off after the knockout, just like rolling around. He does the whole flip you off thing, and definitely a personality. But also the Iranians. Remember the big Iranians who fought?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Amir Ali Akbari.
Did he get signed to the UFC recently?
He did, but then he was also signed to what was it called, ACA now or AAC? And
ACA.
It used to be ACB. And he was still on contract with them, and his management never negotiated like a release, and so they were like, "Yeah, no, you're not fighting the UFC."
Oh, lame.
And then there was a rumor circulating that because he has a lifetime ban from wrestling, that the UFC wasn't going to sign him. But I've heard, I haven't confirmed, but from sources close to the camp, they said that's not the case. The UFC knows about that; they don't care.
But you sounded suspicious, or they care about.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, that wasn't a USADA suspension, right? That was the Wrestling Federation or whatever it was banned him, so he can't compete in the Olympics or the World Championships.
And how many? That was a long time ago, right?
So he's like 30 now, so I think he was in his 20s when that happened.
So,
but Amir Ali Akbari is a world destroyer, right? If he fought heavyweight in the UFC, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, he just crushed that Korean kid. I remember that.
I was the ref.
That was a straight up like
murder.
slaughter.
Yeah, that could have been a snuff film easily.
Yeah, man, that was just that kid. I think he didn't know what he was getting himself into.
Someone was like, "Yo, you want to go to Bangkok?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, like, yeah, you can bring 2 friends.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
You just have to fight an Iranian."
All right, that sounds all right.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll do that. I mean, when he took his shirt off at weigh-ins, I was like, and Amir was jacked.
Yeah.
Actually, the other kid, Musab, I'm messing his name up, Mustad, who trained with him at AKA, another heavyweight Iranian kid, he was hilarious. He was great to watch fight. Really, really good kid.
Even like the story of him when he fought that dude that he knocked out in like 3 seconds.
Ryan Feltner, is that his name?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yo, didn't he show up at your gym?
He did show up the week before. Like, I think it was, I forget, I was supposed to fight some guy. I think he was training out of the AKA Phuket or whatever. And then, like, the week out, the guy said he couldn't take the fight and something like that. So then John's like, hold on, we'll try and find another guy. Then this Feltner dude shows up to the gym. And I guess he turned down an offer from John earlier. And you know how John kind of says, okay, if you turn it down, you're on the bottom of the list now, and I'm going to pick the next guy. So he just buys a one-way ticket to Thailand, shows up, just basically hoping that John will give him a fight.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for him, my guy pulled out, and he stepped in, right?
Where was he trained out of? Like, not Phuket, Penang?
Yeah, he said he was training out of Penang top team or whatever.
I didn't even know there was a Penang top team.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where he was training out of. But he came to our gym just to just train and hopefully hop on a fight. And then, bro, that guy annoyed the shit out of me right away.
I can imagine.
That was the most gratifying win still to this day for me.
I remember the walkout. You were already in the cage.
Yeah.
And this dude comes walking out, and he's like flipping off Javi in the cage, and he's going like pointing at him and like finger across the neck.
Yeah, man.
I'm like, yo, what's this dude doing? They're trying to put Vaseline on him, and he's like talking shit through the cage. I'm like, okay.
Dude, yeah. And I mean, like, yeah, he shows up to the gym, and that's when I was teaching part-time at Fight Lab, and he shows up for the first time I saw him in a jiu-jitsu class, dude, and his demeanor just annoyed me right away. Yeah. And then like 2 days later when I found out I was fighting him, I was like, oh, thank God, this is going to be great.
Like, I love this.
Yeah, man. And then like the whole, like the medical weigh-ins, he was all like, you know, I think it was, what's his name? Freaking, gosh dang it. The one ref, I can't remember.
Oh, Ali.
Yeah. They were doing the weigh-ins for us. And he's like, oh, so where are you guys training out of? And he's like, the same team. I was like, nah, bro, we didn't train out of the same team. There's no secrets.
That's what he said.
Yes, dude. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, dude. Where did they find this guy? Oh, fuck, he's this guy, dude.
There's no secrets.
There's no secrets.
But you told me he just showed up and would hit the bag and then leave.
Yeah. He'd hit the bag and he bounced. Tommy didn't want to even have him in there. I pulled me aside and I was like, listen, dude, he offered to take the fight. You know, I don't want to scare him off. And I already did 6 weeks, man. If he really thinks he's going to beat me, fine. Let's see. You know, it's not happening. He's like, all right, but he's not training with the team. He was like, fine. And so he just punched the bag in the corner for a few.
This was the old location, right?
Yeah, the old location there. Yeah, man. And so he'd just be watching me in the cage, you know, hitting the bag, just like looking over at me.
Like, I can imagine this. I can just kind of picture it.
Dude, yeah, that guy was a character, man.
I remember after I stopped it, and he was like underhooking my beard for a minute, and then he stood up. I'm like, yo, you stay down. He's like, getting up. He's like, why'd you stop it, man? What the fuck? You're robbing me, man. And he's like talking shit to me. And like he's falling backwards. I finally got him against the cage. He's like, what the fuck, man? This is early stoppage.
Oh, man.
You watch it back on replay, and all you hear is Jason Mayhem Miller laughing.
Just laughing. Oh, dude, yeah. Then afterwards, I was hanging out with Jason, and he was just telling me, he's like, yeah, man, I'm just like sitting there watching you guys, and you look really intense, and this is like during the Trump time, so it's like Mexican dude versus crazy South guy, and it's just like, yeah, dude, like.
I didn't even think of that, yeah.
He's like, yeah, we're making MMA great again. And I thought it was going to be this intense fight, and you just knocked him out, dude. I couldn't help but just laugh my ass off.
It was this manic, like, crazy Joker laugh for, like, 40 minutes it could have gone on.
Dude. Yeah, that was awesome, man.
Yeah, that was like the moment that you went from like, that was early in the card too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
that fight?
I think that was like the second or third fight.
Yeah, that was like the moment, like it really switched for you in Bangkok, I think. And then the whole thing with Elite happened after that, and you were really on the come up.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Just kept racking up wins, dude. You know?
For sure.
Yeah, and then whatever.
Breaking cups.
Breaking cups, yeah. Shoot, I mean, maybe that's how you gotta wear steel cup. Fairtex sponsor.
One right here.
Sponsor. You see that?
Steel cup.
Fairtex sponsors FMD.
Protect the babies.
Gotta protect that family jewels. Man.
Actually, man, but who shows up to an MMA fight with a plastic cup?
Oh,
that's crazy. Actually, I've been doing pat down at fights, and guys will come out with no cup, no mouthpiece. Especially when we did MEMA and we would do the tryouts. I remember one dude came out and his mouthpiece was on the bottom.
Oh, he just like.
I'm like, what? So I tell him like mouthpiece. He smiles. I'm like, what the? It's like on the bottom. I'm like, flip it upside down. Flip it. And he's like, oh. Wow. And oddly enough, he lost in the. He got wrecked in the tryout.
I feel like that's probably a good.
Yeah.
Good test to see how good this guy is.
One guy came out with no cup and he's like, I don't need it. Oh. I'm like, no, you need it.
Once you get hit a few times, then you definitely know you need it.
He's like, I trained for this. I'm like, no, you don't.
He's like, you ever see those I don't know if they're karate dudes, but you see those guys, they just like
the Chinese guys,
just get kicked in the nuts, man.
You see the one where they have like a wooden thing and they're like swinging it into the dude's dick? Have you seen this?
I have seen
It's like a log. It's a log on rope. And there's two guys holding it, one on each side, and they're just smashing some dude in the dick with this log. And I'm just like, who the fuck thinks of this? Like, who was like 10,000 years ago in China, some motherfucker was like, if I can take a shot in the dick from anyone, I will be unbeatable. And he spent the rest of his life training how to like take a shot to the dick.
I saw a video of these like old like Chinese dudes sitting in like a cave or something. I don't even know where they were, and they were just hitting themselves in the dick. Oh, everybody, there's like a bunch of them.
Probably the same video with the log.
And they're just like, they're just hitting themselves in the dick, and they're just like powering through.
I think that's like that's something I could imagine like some repressed Midwest Christian guys doing on like a retreat for their church. Like going into the woods and just punching their dicks and being like, no sex, no sex, no sex. Like a bunch of like prepubescent Christian teens on like a retreat. Celibacy for Jesus, celibacy for Jesus. You know that shit happens.
Oh, dude, it totally happens, man. Oh, my
That's
God.
like that, what is it, the Illuminati. That's what they're probably doing.
Yeah. I know Javi's on that Epstein shit.
Listen, man.
Yeah.
Did he kill himself? Did Epstein kill himself?
Epstein didn't kill himself, bro.
I follow your Instagram, and I feel like you're on the fence here.
It's just... and then when the whole build up to it, so he gets arrested, and then I was just angry because it's like, okay, all the stuff that I've been listening to and everybody's been making fun of me is now being proven true. And it's just like, why is nobody talking about this? So I had to make it a big deal. It's like, dude, nobody's going to talk about this guy. These super rich people just diddling kids all left and right, bro.
You got to follow Javi's Instagram because he's on Javi's meme game. His meme game is second to none. Top-notch meme game, for sure. You, sir. But the Epstein memes, you're taking it to another level.
Oh, man, dude. You just got to bring awareness, bro. I mean, it's just silly. And then I even said so. I was like, they're going to kill him. Don't forget about him, man. Don't forget about him because they're going to kill him. And then look, well, what happened? I just got stolen in to a couple of my friends, dude. Just like,
I love the ones that are like they're like a really complicated meme about something else. You get to the end, like Epstein didn't kill himself.
I think I posted one today. It was like, oh, if you take Paige Van Zant's boobs, Misha Tate's ass, and Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
What about Hillary? You know, she was on that talk show, and the
she
host,
laughed.
Yeah, the host was
she laughed.
And how did you kill Epstein? And she just laughed, like, not even laughed, cackled. Like, she was, like, dying laughing and shit. Like, that's That's untouchable shit right there.
Yeah.
Like, you're just untouchable, right?
Of course,
Is she untouchable?
Still couldn't beat Trump in the election, though.
But that's, yeah.
Epstein got the short end of that stick.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
But talking about that Paige Van Zandt, the Casey Durham meme, though.
Yeah.
Who's the dime in MMA right now?
Ooh. I like Karate Hottie.
Really?
Yeah. She does something for me.
John.
Me, like, Claudia.
Oh,
You
really?
know why? It's because I've met her.
Oh, yeah?
Like, it's not like I've just seen them on TV fighting or just on pictures and stuff. I've actually met her and, like, talked to her and interviewed her. And for me, it's just like she's
she's
like top rate, man.
I'm going to leave the personalities out of it. Rachel Ostovich is my top. Thick. Thick.
Even that TH really
Thick.
Real thick.
thicker than a Snicker.
Thicker than a Snickers, man.
Yeah.
But then there's that new girl that they just signed, Cortez.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful girl too, man.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful girl too.
Yeah,
man.
I saw something where it was like a video when they're taking like UFC pictures of her and like some guy just like zooms in.
Yeah. There's some creepy dudes out there,
dude,
man.
super creepy dude.
Remember that chick that was like when all the fighters were coming out at the UFC and she was like,
Oh, yeah. Like
the commission chick, yeah.
Like,
You gotta be careful, man, when you're standing back there.
But you know what, man? Like some of these, like some of the hot chicks in the UFC, though, it's kind of scary too. At the same time, like a little bit of crazy comes with that.
Yeah. Well, who's the hottest dude?
Chris Cyborg. No, I'm just kidding.
Like a man crush? Let's say man crush.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bromance.
Bro, man.
You know, we gotta be fair, man. We can't be just like, you know.
Also, Joanna's pretty hot too, though. Before we switch over to dudes here,
Joanna.
she's got a little something like that Eastern European thing going on. Okay, so we'll just skip the man crush and we'll come back to that later.
I'm like thinking about it. It's like, I don't know.
Be
Man.
fair, man.
Be fair.
John's gonna say Brock.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah, gender equality.
Yeah.
A man crush. All right, Mark Hunt.
Mark Hunt.
Yeah, why not?
Why? He just holds you in his big, strong arms.
Yeah.
Keep you warm.
It's just a great personality, man.
Oh, man.
Ubereem.
Yeah. I'll go with Ubery.
Ubereem.
Yeah.
Also, heavyweights. Like, you're just.
No, I mean, it'd have to be a man bigger than me, right?
Yeah, right. Like, I'm already a heavyweight, so it's gonna like.
Someone that can carry you.
Yeah, man.
I'm not gonna say Triple C.
Hold me at
You
night
can
when it's
carry
cold
him.
outside.
Yeah,
You
right.
can put him in your pocket.
Right. That's like. How about you? What's your man crush? Since you brought it up, I feel like you want to say it.
you
like,
gotta say
yeah.
it, dude.
I don't even know, man.
I thought you would go with
I'll
like
just-
Costa or something.
Yeah.
or-
Nah, man. I don't know.
I could see.
don't know about
John's
costume.
like an Adesanya guy for sure.
Nah, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a Sonya guy. I don't know, man. I never even thought about that.
Sexy Yama.
If I was gonna say anybody, I probably would pick like let's say a Rockhold or somebody.
Really?
Yeah,
Rockhold,
why
but he's a
not?
douche, bro.
Yeah,
he's a douche.
he's an uber douche.
Yeah,
Dude,
so
So you like those douchey guys who like gonna talk down to you?
Yeah, of course, man. I like to be abused.
Believe, achieve, perceive.
What Bisbee say that? I read that self-help book.
What about
That's the worst self-help book
what about
I've
when
ever
he-
heard.
What about that when he was trying to throw gang signs, but he
Oh, when Nate Diaz, he's like, oh, man. Yeah, he just has the best cringe interviews ever. He's like, I'm a samurai. You know, yeah.
But
That's
I think he's talked the most shit, and has been like punished for that the most out of anybody.
Because
I've
he's a
seen.
legit douche, though. I mean, like Colby Covington. Have you seen the video where like he's talking to the fan? And
He's really nice.
He's like he's like giving the kid real advice. He's like, dude, you just gotta like really like commit to it, put the time in. And the guy's like, yo, man, I wish you'd show this personality more. And he's like, ah.
Yeah, man.
But, like-
don't sell tickets.
Yeah, but legit, like I love the cringiness of Colby because I really feel like it's not real, right? And I can get behind the troll aspect of it. With Rockhold, you're like, no, this guy's just a douche. He's always been a douche.
But we need guys like that too. We need guys that are the cringe guys. We need the guys that are respectful guys. We need the guys that are douches.
Yeah, but the difference is Colby really seems like he's a legit nice guy. He's just playing the douche cringe guy, whereas Rockhold, I feel like in real life he's the douchebag.
Yeah. I mean, he's pissed off a lot of people in the jiu-jitsu community as of late.
Yeah.
Rockhold? Oh,
Yeah.
he's done some
Because he said
interviews,
something,
right?
yeah, he was saying, like, he just hates modern jiu-jitsu because all you guys do is sit on your butt and, like, do leg locks and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like,
Well, I don't disagree with him on that, but No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, dude.
But doesn't he have a jiu-jitsu match coming up?
Yeah.
That's why he's probably saying that.
Who's he get the jiu-jitsu match with?
Rodriguez?
I can't even remember right now.
Something Rodriguez, I think. But yeah, it seems like he's gonna jump into that, and I want to see how he does, man, because he's pretty good.
He was a legit black belt.
Yeah.
He was a legit black belt for sure.
You know who's got some weird cringe is Tim Kennedy.
I don't think now that I think about it, I don't really ever watch a Tim Kennedy interview.
I like Tim Kennedy. He's really chill sometimes, but then he went on Fox News. He was saying like some really fucked up, cringy shit.
Like what about like the war, like
it was about like manhood or something. But like at the same time, I really dig him. I don't dislike him. Like I dislike Luke Rockhold. I don't dislike Tim Kennedy at all. I just think sometimes when he says shit, I'm just like, oh, that's funny. I'll give him a pass.
Yeah. Man, he got robbed in that Yoel fight, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Kennedy, I love it. You guys know.
Was that the No Gate Jesus one?
Yeah.
Was that the No Gate Jesus
one? America, what you do, Jesus?
Yeah. No Gate Jesus.
And then Dana White's like, oh, he didn't say what you think he said. Like, no, he said that. I love the way Tommy Toehold does Yoel.
I love you.
I love you, Tim Kennedy.
Tim Kennedy, I love you.
Doesn't his UFC shirt say, I love you, too? Like, I love you.
I love you.
I love you, Tim Kennedy.
Oh, my gosh, man. Dude, isn't Yoel fighting us, Israel?
What's that?
Is that confirmed, Yoel in Israel?
I think not confirmed.
Oh, man. That'd be a good one, too, though.
That'd be a great fight.
Yeah.
How about, Darren Till saying, like, I want no part of that.
Well, he was joking. He wasn't serious.
I think he was, well, I mean, it was half joking, but at the same time, I think it was, like, legitimately, like, if I don't have to fight Yoel, why would I fight Yoel?
But if he thinks that, then he probably shouldn't fight.
No, I don't know. I think, like, there's room for honesty there, right? Like, Yoel is a beast.
Well, he said he said that he'll fight Israel.
Yeah.
And if you really look at it, who's a better fighter?
For sure. But, I mean, at the same time, Yoel is a freak of nature.
He is a freak.
But his styles, too, man. Yeah. That matchup, you know. Like, I mean, as a fighter, I always think about that when I look at opponents now.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, his style doesn't match up with mine. Do I think I can win it? You know?
Yeah.
I think it's important, too, for you to kind of realize when you're bitten off a little bit more than you can chew, you know.
Yeah.
With some guys, you know.
I think that there's aspects of that you have to think about. That, you know, there are people who have to be like, yeah, do I match up well with this person? Do they have a part of their skill set that I really can't hang with?
Yeah, I understand that aspect of it, you know what I mean, to be honest. But I think that, you know, if you're going to go and fight the champ and you think you could beat the champ, then you're going to be the champ. Then you're going to have to fight him anyways. Yeah,
but again, styles make fights.
But Yoel doesn't really wrestle anymore, so I don't think he should be scared of that. Do you think
a lot of people have said, though, that, you know, Yoel just, like, something about when you're fighting him, he just, like, hits hard, he takes a shot.
He's fast, man, for his size.
Yeah,
he's 41, is that right?
Yeah, I think he's
41 years old.
No, he's 44, I think.
Is he 44?
Yeah,
to be honest, doesn't he not even know his age or something like that?
He's like
he could be 26.
He's like Ruiz. What's his name? John Ruiz.
Yeah, I don't think he knows.
Got knocked out.
Yeah. Because, like, those Cubans, they don't keep track of any of that stuff. So,
he's
I
like
think
69.
I'm like 40-ish or something. I don't know.
He's like 69, you know, and just great genes.
Yeah, they just don't know how old they are, man.
And his one failed drug test was vindicated. One failed drug test was vindicated.
I wonder... It's
because a lot of 44-year-olds look like that.
Shoot, man.
I'm 40.
They do. A lot of 44-year-olds do look like that in the bodybuilding community.
Yeah, in the in South Florida, where there's anti-aging clinics on every corner.
Man, just down in Pattaya, bro. They got that same thing going with
right?
the 40-year-olds.
I've never seen an old dude who's not ripped in Pattaya.
Oh, my God.
It must be something in the water.
I remember when I was first coming, when I wanted to plan my first trip to Thailand, I remember I was like, I think I was on like Googling just some stuff on it. And one of the first articles that came up was some Australian dude, like bodybuilder dude, who was jacked, and he had 2 Thai girls on his arms in Pattaya.
And Javi booked the ticket.
It said and then the headline was like, I came for the girls, but I stayed for the steroids.
That dude's pretty famous, right? What's his
he
name?
won like a medal because he beat up some dude in Pattaya.
Really?
Yeah, because that was like some, what is it, like domestic abuse. He saw some people, so he beat up this dude, and then the cops gave him like a bunch of medals and stuff.
I saw something on Vice.
That's it. Yeah, that's what it was. It was on a Vice article.
I got a crazy Pattaya story. I was there for think it was called Rock Fight or Rock Wars. It was a fight that was put on by Mike Swick. It was one of the promoters for it, and my neighbor's like still working on their place. What's going on? You hear that?
Yeah, I heard something.
What the fuck? Anyway, I'm in Pattaya. We go to the weigh-ins. There's like Hooters on Walking Street or whatever, and we're walking back to the Fairtex resort, and there's kids fishing on the beach. We're walking down Beach Road. You know, like all the prostitutes on Beach Road are like toothless, like pregnant grandmas or something. You know, it's not the cream of the crop. So we're walking down. There's like some kids fishing, like right on the beach, and the cops are giving them a hard time about fishing. And literally, less than 10 feet away, there's a dude, like a 60-year-old dude, getting a blowjob on the bench. But the cops aren't paying him any mind. They're harassing these three guys fishing.
God, dude. Oh,
good time. Thailand's amazing.
Amazing Thailand.
Every time I come here, man, I just trip out, and this is the perfect place to people watch.
Yeah.
The perfect place.
You live in Seoul, or you live somewhere else in Korea?
I live in Seoul, like right outside of Seoul.
All right.
It's just, a bunch of Koreans out there.
I kind of figured that in Korea, that a bunch of Koreans.
Yeah, it's totally, Korea and Thailand is like both Asian countries, but it's like, it could be like Mars and Earth, man.
Yeah.
It's just totally different places. And I love it, man. I love coming out here. It's just another experience.
Changes your mindset, right?
Yeah, just the senses, man. Your senses.
You said last time you were here was when he fought Ryan?
Yeah, last time I was in Bangkok.
2 years ago?
Ryan.
Yeah.
I've been out to like Phuket a few times.
2 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a year gap between FMDs, right?
Yeah. That's right, man.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a while he had about like 3 or 4 shows a year.
Like 6 at one point,
man.
yeah.
It was going good.
Because what number is this? Like 18, 19?
18.
Yeah. I remember
I think that was like FMD 13 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first one I was at was 3. It was that one with Baz and Dylan. And before that, they were in Phuket.
Oh, really? I didn't know they were in Phuket.
Yeah, they did the first 2 in Phuket. Then they did one in Phuket also, like in the middle, like FMD 12 or something. Actually, it might have been this one, 8. FMD 8, where they went down to Phuket and did it at, that's that crazy-ass nightclub in Patpong or Patong or whatever that neighborhood is.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a 4-story.
The White House, White Room? Or?
No, it's can't even think of it. Yeah, I don't know, but it's like this big ass like nightclub down there, and there's like 4 stories. I remember going up to the bathroom to take a leak, and you're looking there's mirrors, one-way mirrors in the room, so you're actually looking out at the dance floor while you're pissing. But when you're in the club where the cage was, it's all mirrors up there. It's like, it's a little weird.
Man, dude. Yeah, Thailand's an amazing place.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, it's crazy. Insanity this weekend.
Club Insanity.
FMD 18.
11.
FMD 11.
18.
Watch out for the lady boys. A lot of lady boys in Soy 11.
Don't get fooled.
Don't get fooled. Well, those are the lady boys. If you get fooled, you deserve to get fooled.
Yeah, man. Come on. It's like, come on, dog. She got a 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah.
She got shoulders like Dwight Howard, bro.
Right?
Like, what are you? Come on.
She's palming 2 basketballs. What are you talking about?
Oh, so you want to come over with me? Nah, bro. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
That's what they look like down there. Yeah.
Thanks, though.
She's got buys and tries, you know.
Buys and tries. You go down to the Sealom area, though, Sealom Soy 4, you could easily be fooled down there.
Oh, yeah, Sealom, but that's like where the gay district is.
Yeah. Was it what they call Patpong?
Patpong.
Yeah. You go down there, that you gotta be on the lookout. Like just keep your eyes down on the ground and walk straight, man.
Yeah,
Get to the train.
My very first gym I used to train out here in Bangkok for Muay Thai. That's where it was. Yeah. Right down in that area. And I did not know that was the gay area. Yeah. I just thought like guys were super cool.
Super nice.
You're super nice, buying me drinks, giving me back rubs. I'm like, oh, these guys are all right, man.
These guys are nice, yeah.
Oh, that's what's going on here. All right, I'm out.
I used to work down that way. I remember walking one night to meet someone in one of the markets, and one of the clubs had their door open, and I look in, there's a lady boy with like huge fake tits doing windmills with her dick.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Slapping some white dude in the face with it, like.
But you know what though? A lot of guys, or a lot of just people in general, I think they just come to Thailand just to see that.
Yeah.
Because you can't experience it anywhere else, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
certain parts of the world, but in Asia, I think this is the only spot.
Cambodia, man, is on another level.
Is it?
Cambodia's the Wild West.
Yeah, well, Cambodia's super Wild West. I hear. I still haven't been.
The first time I was in Cambodia was 2006. My first night, I got drugged by 2 prostitutes. Barely made it home okay. My second night, I got stuck in the middle of a gunfight. 2 dudes shooting AK-47s at each other. I'm like, I love it here.
Yeah, man, I hear that happens all the time. Guys get drugged. Like, don't a lot of guys die that way too?
Yeah,
they get overdosed, and like there was like some type of scam where they'll put something in your drink, and it's like really high concentrated heroin or something. Then they send you to the hospital, and then they rack up the bill on you.
Yeah, I think I was just lucky because I wasn't drinking alcohol.
Probably because you're a big dude.
And I was big, and well, I was drinking soda too, so I wasn't drunk. Yeah. Right, and so when I started to feel something fucked up, I was like,
I knew something was up.
I was like, I get back to my hotel. Yeah. I remember walking out of this bar, and the dude at the door must have been like the biggest Cambodian. He's like a Tangmo, right? He's just like this big Cambodian dude. I'm like, fuck. And I can barely walk at this point. And I get outside, and they don't have tuk-tuks in Cambodia. They have like these Frankenstein things where they chop the back off of a motorcycle and attach like a basket to it. I jumped in the back of one of those and he dropped me in my hotel. And like I remember the security guard sleeping outside the hotel. I get up to my room, I lock my door, I just like take all my clothes off and lay with my face hanging off the edge of the bed. And I woke up the next day like all dehydrated and cramped and shit. I forgot to turn the aircon on. I was sweating like crazy.
What's that shit that
good times.
They're like, what's that shit that killing everybody in America?
That
fentanyl. Yeah, fentanyl.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're like drugging people with nowadays.
No, that shit wasn't around back then, but yeah, I could imagine like people just die like one hit of that's like crazy compared to like heroin, I guess.
Well, I was listening to some podcasts and they were talking about like how now they're cutting everything with fentanyl.
Even cocaine.
So it's like that cheap.
Yeah.
It's like that cheap that you can just cut shit with it.
Yeah. And then people are just dying from that. You know what I mean?
God damn.
It says that they're dying from like cocaine overdoses or whatever, but
it's really,
fentanyl.
Yeah,
it's
fentanyl
really
mixed
in.
Fentanyl's an opiate, right? Derivative. Yeah.
Which is weird, right?
Well, we have like you must have been an EMT, right? You were a firefighter, so we got a guy who can talk about it here.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just like I think it's like an opiate, and it's like, you know how like it's made from China. So they're saying that they're shipping a lot of that stuff over from China, and like the thing is that it's China. You know, they have those, what do they call them, like designer drugs? Yeah. Where they're just always one molecule off. So like they'll switch one different thing, and then that like it's not an opiate, so it's like technically legal. Like you remember, were you in the States when they were like bath salts were really popular?
Yeah.
Yeah, just
dudes
stuff
eating
like
faces and shit.
Yeah, man, and it's just like them once it becomes banned in America and in China, then they just switch the thing and do it again. And
going back to the whole USADA thing too, and like the whole doping PED thing, a lot of the guys who, you know, obviously tainted supplements like a bullshit excuse, but a lot of these drugs are made, these supplements are made in factories in China where they make anything. Yeah. And so they're just mixing it with like, we did steroids yesterday, we're doing protein powder today, we're doing fentanyl tomorrow. So you really could test positive for something. But on that note, right, it would be minute. Yeah. Right?
Well, a picogram.
So what do you guys think about the pulsing picogram?
The pulsing picogram.
Yeah, like John Jones has a pulsing picogram.
That's why he's exempt now.
That won't go away, right? Is that why? I mean,
doesn't he have like an exemption for
that
now?
Which is crazy. So you basically say, hey, you can do drugs, Sean. Just don't get caught. Don't run your car into pregnant women again, please.
I love that John Jones is going back and forth with Adesanya.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's just going to build into something.
Eventually. Well, I think crazy. John's going to have to go to heavyweight at some point.
I think he's going to stick around and try to fight him.
Adesanya could probably go to 205.
But Adesanya wants to wait. He wants to defend the title a few times and then challenge John. He said because he doesn't want to like hold up the
division. Yeah. Also, if he goes up to 205, right, it's in his best interest to do it slower.
Yeah.
Right, to take a couple fights and have like a little bit bigger weight cuts each time until he gets to the point where like, I can't really comfortably make 85. Let me really pack on the weight for the next 6 months, and we'll do a 205 with John.
Yeah. I would like to see a TRT Adesanya.
Actually, I heard even outside of competition, he's not over 200 though.
Yeah, he's not a big.
I heard he's only like 195. Yeah. Like when he's not fighting.
But he has a big frame, I heard.
Well, you look at him, he's so long, right?
He's long, and man, I think he has the type of body where he could last long. He could have a long career.
Yeah.
Compared to other guys, that get injured a lot. And,
for sure.
His style too. He doesn't really get injured. So I don't know. I just want to see somebody that can wrestle go in there and just wrestle against Adesanya and see how he does with that.
It could go either way, right? Because a long guy, right? Wrestlers a lot of times love those long guys, so you can grab a limb, really pull him down. It's tough to get in, get those angles. But then there are guys who are really long, who fight long, who are able to really stop takedowns well.
And that's what Adesanya is.
Yeah.
He can do that. Like, if you've seen him, you've seen him defend takedowns very well. But
remember how Chuck used to just sprawl on everything? Yeah. And Chuck's, he doesn't look huge, but he's a very long guy.
Yeah, he had a long reach, didn't
he? Yeah. It's funny because Chuck was a wrestler in college. I never saw him hit a takedown once in the UFC.
He just uses wrestling in reverse, right?
Yeah.
Sprawl, keep him up.
Walk up the cage.
Yeah. Made him a superstar, man. Made him a superstar.
For sure. Well, guys, we're getting to the end of time here. I know Javi's got to bounce out, so let's wrap it up. Javi, good luck this weekend, brother.
Hey, thank you guys so much, man. Yeah, if you guys are interested, I don't know, when's this podcast coming out?
I'm going to try to put it out Thursday, Friday.
All right, yeah. So if you guys are interested and you're in Bangkok, man, just come down. I believe the doors open at 7 o'clock. If you want to go and buy tickets, man, please come out and support me and support, we also got 2 guys out of Team Quest also fighting on the card as amateurs. So please come out and support us. And if you want to holler at me, you just find me on my IG, javiertrujillo.mma.
Yeah, I'll have all the links to your IG and everything. Yeah. Again, like I said, follow his IG and check his stories out because the memes are on another level.
Thank you, sir.
All right, guys.
Do my best.
Have a good night.